அனைவருக்கும் இனிய காலை வணக்கம். வட அமெரிக்க தமிழ்ச்சங்க பேரவையின் மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள் மேம்பாட்டுக் குழுவின் சார்பாக இன்று நடைபெறும் இந்த நிகழ்விற்கு வந்திருக்கும் உங்கள் அனைவரையும் அன்போடு வரவேற்கிறோம். இந்த நிகழ்வை எல்லோருக்கும் கொண்டு சேர்க்கும் நோக்கில் இன்றைய நிகழ்வு பெரும்பாலும் ஆங்கிலத்தில் இருக்கும் என்பதை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். வாருங்கள், நிகழ்வை தமிழ் தாய் வாழ்த்தோடு தொடங்குவோம். அனைவரும் தமிழ் தாய் வாழ்த்துக்கு எழுந்து நிற்குமாறு அன்போடு கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறோம். நன்றி.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டனிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
மியூட்ல இருக்கீங்க ஜான்?
நான் மியூட்ல இல்லைங்களே. இப்போ கேக்குதுங்களா? கேக்குதா நான் பேசுறது? வணக்கம், நன்றி. பேரவையின் மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள் மேம்பாட்டுக் குழு பற்றியும் மற்றும் இன்றைய நிகழ்வு பற்றியும் ஒரு அறிமுக உரையை வழங்குவதற்காக பேரவையின் செயலாளர் முனைவர் கபிலன் இல்லை அவர்களை அன்போடு அழைக்கிறோம்.
வணக்கம் ஜான். அனைவருக்கும் காலை வணக்கம். வட அமெரிக்க தமிழ்ச்சங்க பேரவையின் சார்பில் இன்றைய குடல் நலம் மற்றும் மதி இறுக்கம் எனும் தலைப்பிலான விழிப்புணர்வு நிகழ்வில் கலந்து கொண்டுள்ள அனைவருக்கும் எனது இதயம் கனிந்த நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். பேரவையின் மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள் மேம்பாட்டுக் குழு தொடர்ந்து சமூக நலனுக்கான முக்கியமான தலைப்புகளில் மக்களுக்கு விழிப்புணர்வை ஏற்படுத்தி வருகிறது. இன்றைய நிகழ்வும் அதில் ஒரு முக்கிய முயற்சியாகும். உடல் நலமும் மனநலமும் ஒன்றுடன் ஒன்று இணைந்தவை. இவை இரண்டும் சமநிலையுடன் இருக்க வேண்டும் என்பதே இந்நிகழ்வின் நோக்கம். சித்த மருத்துவர் டாக்டர் பார்த்திபன் கனகசபை அவர்களுக்கு காலை வணக்கம். அவரின் அனுபவமும் அறிவும் நம்மை நிச்சயமாக புதிய விழிப்புணர்வின் பாதையில் அழைத்து செல்வோம் என்பதில் மாற்று கருத்து இல்லை. Today's event is very important as an autism is rising year after year. ஸோ இங்கே வந்து நம்மளோட தொடர்ந்து இப்போ வந்து 2022 தான் ஒரு ஓவரால் ஸ்டடி சிடிசி அண்ட் என்ஐஹெச் எல்லாமே அவங்க ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன் இது பண்ணி ஸ்டடி பண்ணதில் every year it's growing the autism spectrum. ஸோ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்மளோட ஏசியன் இண்டியன் அண்டு பசிபிக் ஐலாண்டர் சில்ட்ரன் அவங்க தான் த ஹையஸ்ட் பாப்புலேஷன் ஃபார் த ஆட்டிசம் அப்படிங்கிற ரிப்போர்ட் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. அதே மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம அமெரிக்காவில் வட அமெரிக்கா இதில் முக்கியமாக நியூ ஜெர்சி, மசச்சூட்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆல்சோ கலிஃபோர்னியா, இப்போ கூட ரீசெண்டாக அந்த இதில் டெக்சாஸும் இணைந்திருக்கு. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி இந்த ஆட்டிசம் தொடர்ந்து வந்துட்டு இருக்கிற இந்த காலகட்டத்தில் இந்த புள்ளி விவரம் நமக்கு ஒரு முக்கியமான கடினமான உண்மை உணர்த்துகின்றது. இதை நம்ம எப்படி அணுகணும், நம்ம குழந்தைகளுக்கும் நம்ம பெற்றோர்களுக்கும் எந்த வகையிலான முறையில் இவங்களுக்கு ஒரு தீர்வு கிடைக்கும் என்பதில் தொடர்ந்து நம்மளோட மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள் குழு மேம்பாட்டு குழு சிறப்பாக செயல்பட்டு கொண்டிருக்கிறது. ஆல்சோ இதில் ஜஸ்ட் எனக்கு இதில் கியூரியஸ் அபவுட் இது நான் ஐம் ஒர்க்கிங் இன் ரட்கர்ஸ் மெடிக்கல் ஸ்கூல் அண்ட் ஆல்சோ ஐம் டூயிங் ரிசர்ச் ஆன் ஹவு த ஓரல் மைக்ரோபயம் அண்ட் கட் மைக்ரோபயம் தட் இஸ் அசோசியேட்டட் வித் அல்சைமர் டிசீஸ். So past 2 years I'm moving on this field and I'm working on this, and I'm going to publish, in a couple of months, which shows that dramatically the gut microbiome that is plays a vital role for the brain and so many diseases, including Alzheimer, autism, and depressions, anxiety, everything is related to gut microbiome. So I'm curious today how Dr. Parthiban Kanagasabai is going to share with how the Siddha Maruthavam help us to understand further whether it is possible to find any cure on autism related to gut microbiome. ஸோ இந்த நிகழ்வை சிறப்பாக ஒருங்கிணைந்த மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள் மேம்பாட்டு குழுவினர் அனைவருக்கும் எனது மனமார்ந்த நன்றி. பேரவையின் சார்பாக உங்களோட இந்த குழு நமக்கு வடமேற்கு தமிழ்ச்சங்க பேரவையில் 32 குழுக்கள் இருந்தாலும் இது ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு குழு. ஏன்னா நம்மளோட அடுத்த தலைமுறை இந்த இதுல எவ்வளவு பாதிக்கப்பட்டு இருக்காங்கிறது நமக்கு கண்கூட நாம பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கும்போது அவர்களுக்கு நம்மளோட பேரண்ட்களுக்கும் குழந்தைகளுக்கும் நீங்கள் உறுதுணையாகவும் இந்த மாதிரி தொடர்ந்து செயல்பட்டு கொண்டிருப்பதில் மிக்க மகிழ்ச்சி. உங்களுடைய தொடர்ந்து இதுக்கு எங்களோட பேரவையின் சார்பாக இன்னும் என்ன இது இருந்தாலும் நாங்கள் அவளுடன் உங்களுக்கு செய்ய காத்திருக்கிறோம். இந்த நாம் ஒன்றிணைந்து செயல்பட்டால் உடல் நலமும் மனநலமும் இணைந்து சிறந்த வாழ்க்கைக்கு வழிகாட்டும் என்பதில் நினைவில் கொள்வோம். மீண்டும் மிக்க நன்றி. அவளோட நானும் உங்களுடன் காத்து கொண்டிருக்கிறேன். டாக்டர் கனகசபை அவர் நம்மளோட என்ன பேச போகிறார், என்ன தகவல் நமக்கு கொடுக்க போறார் என்று. அனைவருக்கும் மிக்க நன்றி.
நன்றி கபிலன், சிறப்பான ஒரு அறிமுக உரையை வழங்கியிருக்கீங்க. அடுத்து வரவேற்புரை வழங்கிட இக்குழுவினுடைய மேனாள் தலைவர் திரு செந்தில் வேலன் தனபாலன் அவர்களை அன்போடு அழைக்கிறோம்.
வணக்கம் ஜான். வணக்கம். குட் மார்னிங், குட் ஆஃப்டர்நூன், குட் ஈவினிங் எவ்ரிவன். On behalf of the Special Needs Committee of FETNA, I am honored to welcome you all to today's online event on gut health and autism. My name is Senthil Velan Dhanapalan, and I am a member of the Special Needs Committee. We are thrilled to see so many of you joining us today from different parts of the world. Our special thanks to Dr. Parthiban, a renowned Siddha medicine doctor who's taking time out of his busy schedule to share his expertise with us. We are honored by Dr. Parthiban's participation in this event. Thank you, Doctor. Gut health and autism is a topic that's close to our hearts. We're excited to explore the latest research and insights on this critical issue. As a community, we have seen firsthand the impact of autism on individuals and families, and we are committed to providing resources and support to help. Today's event is a step in the direction. We hope you will find the discussion informative, engaging, and helpful in your journey. Before I hand it back to John, I'd like to express our gratitude to the FETNA board, tech team, and our volunteers who make this event possible. I want to thank Sendamari Prabhakar for facilitating the participation of Dr. Parthiban in this valuable event. I want to thank John Brito for agreeing to host the meeting at the last minute. Thank you, John. Let's take a moment to appreciate the incredible work of parents, caregivers, and individuals who have shared their stories and experiences, helping us better understand autism. Your courage inspires us all. I thank everyone, especially Dr. Parthiban, on behalf of Committee Chair Meena Kaliperumal. Now, John will introduce our most respected and esteemed guest, Dr. Parthiban. John?
Thank you so much, Senthil. It's time to introduce our guest. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Parthiban Kanagasabai. Dr. Parthiban holds a bachelor's degree in Siddha Medicine and Surgery from Dr. MGR Medical University, Chennai, graduating in year 2004. During his academic journey, he was honored with the Rajiv Gandhi Annai Satya Financial Fellowship for all the 5 years of his university studies, a testament to his dedications and excellence. He further pursued specialized training in Anthroposophic curative education and social therapy at Dornach, Switzerland. And he is also social role valorizations graduate from the Keystone Institute, USA. Dr. Parthiban is the founder and director of Swabiman. Swabiman is a pioneering organization that integrates health and educational support for the children with autism, offering a unique treatment model based on Indian system of medicines, including Siddha, Ayurveda, and Yoga. In recognition of his outstanding service, he received the Best Doctor Award from Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University in 2012. Dr. Parthiban also serves as a consultant to numerous autism education and treatment facilities across South India and Malaysia. He has presented at many national and international conferences. Beyond his clinical and academic contributions, he is an activist for autism and childhood development disabilities. He is also a prolific writer with articles published in both Tamil and English. He is a very familiar face in television, raising awareness about autism and holistic approaches to child development. Please join with me warmly welcoming Dr. Parthiban Kanagasabai, a healer, educator, and visionary in the field of autism care. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. First, I would like to sincerely thank everyone for this opportunity. It's been 3 years I was given an opportunity in Fitna to talk about mental health. It was in 2022, I guess. It was during the COVID times. I just spoke from here. And two things I would like to say before I go into the presentation, actually. The first thing is, for Dr. Kabir, and he mentioned about the gut microbiome. It's my favorite interest too. So we will discuss in detail about that in this presentation. And I also share the same sentiment like Mr. Sendil. Like, but for parents, we don't have much of information here. Like, we only know very superficial things. But parents know very, very deep about one individual who nobody else knows actually. So only through discussing with parents and constant interactions with them, so we tend to understand each and everybody better. So, and my sincere gratitude for them. So I always have a lot of work with them, So thank you very much. So this is Saturday night here in India, and that is weekend beginning there in the US. So we could do so many other things, but still we chose to do this. So I sincerely thank everyone for being here in this junction. So we'll get to the presentation. Thank you very much. Okay, can you screen? Can everybody see the screen?
ஸ்க்ரீன் தெரியுங்க டாக்டர். நீங்க இது ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் மோட்னா அந்த சின்ன பட்டன் அந்த டாப் ரோல வந்து அதான்.
Is it okay now? Yes.
நல்லா கிளியர், ரொம்ப கிளியரா தெரியுங்க டாக்டர்.
Yes, sir. Okay. So in this presentation, we will just discuss about how to improve the gut health. So when I started my practice some 17, 18 years ago, there was not much awareness about autism in this part of the world. So what we used to do was we just see the children and then we talk to the families, we interact them with a lot and then try to understand. I was also very young those days. So what we do is we try to do a lot of imitating activities like yoga. Like, that is the first line of treatment we start. So once the macro imitation comes, the micro imitation follows. So that is the way we tend to connect with each and every child for more than 45 minutes a day, something like that. It was great beginning those days. And after that, what happened is almost all the children with the spectrum whom we worked with, they all had some sort of one or the other gut issues, be it constipation, bloating, or GERD, or acid reflux. Everybody was having something, which impacted their behaviors. So at that time, exactly like around 2010, I guess, I was given a book called as The Wasted Talents. It was a book written by an Indian autistic author, an American Indian autistic author called Krishna Narayanan. In that Wasted Talent books, he co-authored that book with his mother, Mrs. Jalaja Narayanan. So there he has mentioned in detail about how Siddha Ayurveda helped in healing his gut and improving his sensory profile. So that was really a great thought for us to in-depthly dwell and then look at it. And then we did a lot of studies, and then we found out very interesting things about, I mean, somebody from autism, it is not it's like listening from the horse's mouth. So after reading that book, we did a lot of work with our ancient texts, which speaks a lot about gut and brain function. And the same year, I was introduced to the work of Dr. Timothy Bui from Massachusetts University. And it was in 2011, I guess. Before that itself, for 10 years, he was doing a lot of work in gut health and autism. So I thought of combining both these Eastern knowledge, Eastern literature, and then the Western researchers. And then it throws a lot of light actually in our way actually. So in this presentation, my small aim is to focus more about, to understand more about the ASD and the gut connections, and then the common gut health issues, what we see in the children, and how the behaviors are linked to the underlying gut conditions, and what are the investigations and observations we can look for treatment purpose. And then coming to a core area to discuss tonight, that is Siddha diet, medicines, and external therapies. So we all know autism very well. I'm not going to talk about autism in this esteemed group because it's a very, very specialized group. So we all know autism very well, but still most of them, most of the outside world, they think autism means they'll be limited or no speech, and they have difficulty in social functions. Social skills are very, very challenging. Behaviors, of course, yes, and difficulty in being mainstream and things like that. This most of the population are aware of. But what we need to be more of aware is these things. Children with autism or individuals with autism, most of them are suffering by dietary sensitivities. They have very, very sensitive tummy, so dietary sensitivities, immune system dysfunction because of their picky eating. Most of the children do have this sensory issues. So if they have this tactile hypersensitivity, they don't touch the food. So they don't like certain smells. They don't like certain textures. So the nutritional profile is very, very limited. So they can only have few things to eat. So that also leads to nutritional dysfunction by and large, deficiency by and large. And then heavy metal toxicity is there. If you screen them for heavy metal toxicity, be it hair test or be it blood test, almost 1/3 of the population in the spectrum have higher heavy metals in terms of lead, mercury, copper, and so on. And then the essential metals are on the lower side. That's a very bad combination to say. And sensory issues. So these are the things which we have to keep in mind when we are working with the children, because most of the children, they can't speak for themselves. We have to be very, very observant to understand what is going on. If required, we have to take some investigations and then detailed parent conversations. That will throw a lot of light in our treatment models. This is a very favorite picture of myself, right? The contract between the gut and the brain is a very, very ancient contract. So when we speak about something very emotional, we say that's my gut feeling, right? So that is a very, very ancient contract, and not much efforts until at least 2010 have been put into study about this contract. Only very recently, for this past 1.5 decades only, we are focusing more about studying this healthy relationship. So once the gut and brain are in a very, very healthy relationship, like we call it as bidirectional signaling, the signals from the gut should reach brain appropriately and vice versa, from brain to gut. Then the person will be at ease, at calm. Otherwise anxiety sets in because of hyperstimulation of the vagus nerve system. So we can study about it in detail. This is a picture which I would like to share. See, a lot of things happens the early environment. So when we talk about autism, we cannot leave this environmental and the genetic link. So we all are aware most of the autistic symptoms are inherited. Autism is partly inherited. So that is what science says. The genetic loads the gun and the environment triggers it. So genetics and the environment plays equal role almost in all the disorders, diseases, but in autism it is very, very significant. So when we talk about the early environment, what we exactly mean is how healthy the child's early development is. So that sets the stage for the gut health. So for example, if a parent is having right diet, right lifestyle, right dress, right mindset, the early childhood days, at least 50% of the health we can really guarantee. 50% we can leave it to genetics, right? We can't do much about it as of now, but there are a lot of researches happening in that domain too. But at least for environment part, the complete 50% is in our hands. So if we are aware about these particular factors, we can minimize the damage to of very, very high order. That is one thing. And then the treatment, support, care, everything can be established to reach the target population actually. So what are the contributing factors? So I'm not going to talk about something which does not have a treatment role. So let us just discuss about the very key things here. The one thing is mother's exposure to pollution. The pollution, heat, and extreme sun is a very, very drastic combination, which can later results in particulate matter toxicity. So that is the key thing which we have to focus, because that affects the mother's lungs, and then shallow breathing, reduced oxygen to the fetus. A lot of things can happen because of that. That is something which is not well spoken about these days. That is one thing. So we did one study here in Chennai with Madras University IBMS, Institute of Basic Medical Sciences. It's a preliminary investigation on prenatal maternal stress and associated risk factors on development of autism spectrum disorder. So we ourselves, along with the Madras universities, for 3 years before. So the finding was very, very interesting. Almost 256 mothers participated in it. So what they all said is, during their prenatal times, the unplanned pregnancy caused much anxiety to them. So that was the biggest stress they ensured then. And then the second thing is occupational stress. Since there was not enough help available in the household, so they have to manage the journey of the pregnancy along with the other things. So that really, really affected them, bothered them. And then change of residence, travel, illness of family members, estrangement, separation from the spouse, be it of any reason, be it of domestic reason, work reasons. So extreme worry about or unpleasantness about things. So these things also really affected them. So that is what most of the mothers responded with. So after this, what happened is they said, they saw a lot of symptoms before the child is like 1.5 years or 2 years. So it's repeated cold, cough, bradycardia, slowness of the breath, allergies, wheezing, asthma, repeated middle ear infections. These are the otitis middle ear infection, sinusitis, headache, crying. These symptoms are more common in almost 2/3 of the children, the mothers reported, before they even turn 2. So what science says is all these symptoms are not localized, but are connected with the gut. So we all know what is GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, that we call acid reflux otherwise. Yeah, these are the extra GERD symptoms, but the causes originated from the gut, even before they are 2. So the psychometric test, before the psychometric test diagnosed autism before they are 3, these physical symptoms were saying something is bothering them, which requires attention. So these are the biomarkers by the time we introduced them, and then we documented, and the results were very, very interesting actually. Yeah. So this is the Dr. Timothy's work, and then he has authored some 3 or 4 books to speak only about gut and brain relationship in the people with autism spectrum disorder. So those books actually are very, very informative. And I also read one book those days. That book was called as written by a grandmother of a boy with autism. That book spoke in detail about Indian diet and Mediterranean diet. So they also said, like, these are the two South Indian diet and the Mediterranean diet are comparatively more healthy for people with autism and which address their sensitivities. So that was a very interesting take for me then, actually. Yeah. This to establish this gut-brain axis, this understanding is very, very important. This is about dysbiosis. So usually, what happens in that gut microbiome, the good bacteria, it should be more actually. The bad bacteria should be less, but because of some inflammations, repeated antibiotic administration, extreme stress, what can happen is dysbiosis can results. Once a dysbiosis results, what happens? Autistic features can be perceived in a very, very high order, like cognitive disabilities, social impairments, speech delay, crying, over emotional behaviors, and then running around, not able to sit, constantly in pain, and then screaming, the noise making, the core feature of autism. Those things can be felt. So, why diet should be the matter of real concern of people with autism is almost most of them have this deadly combination. One is lack of digestive enzymes before they turn 6 or 7. This pancreatic lipase, pancreatic amylase, all these enzymes are very, very underrepresented in their gut, and not enough acid because acid goes upwards, not downwards for digestion. Low pancreatic functions. The other interesting thing we observe is in the stool test is fungal infection, intestinal candidiasis. The gut, small intestine candida is very, very common. At least 1 in 3 have this condition. And leaky gut, we all know that, right? That is that autistic enterocolitis is very commonly observed gut problems. And bloating, especially milk and wheat intolerance, frequent constipation, which alternates with diarrhea sometimes. Some children do even present symptoms of extreme vomiting in many cases. And their nutritional profiles give very, very faulty picture by and large. This is a very interesting picture. I would like to recall what Dr. Kabilan quoted to about this Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and things. So what the study says is, if the gut microbiome is of high diversity and richly available, people are healthy in terms of mental and physical health, nutritional health. But for in the children, the smaller young group of children, if it is of low diversity, it may result in IBS, anxiety, ADHD, autism. And if in the old age, the same low diversity gut microbiome can lead to Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. So why gut is very important? Because gut has its own nervous system. We all know our body has a nervous system, spine, brain, and spinal cord. But gut can rival the brain. It has its own nervous system called its enteric nervous system, and you have more immune cells in the wall of the gut than in the bone marrow. So we go out. We eat pani puri from the street vendors. Still, we don't die because these cells protect us. The lining of our gut is protected with endocrine cells. See, the gut has nervous system, it has immune cells, it has endocrine cells. It is the largest storehouse of serotonin. So serotonin, by and large, around 95% are secreted in the gut. The site of secretion is gut, but the site of action is the brain. So this way, gut is very, very important for the healthy brain functioning. See, only after this NIH Human Microbiome Project 2007, the world started focusing more onto the gut health. From 2015 onwards, even in our part of the world, even dentists writes a probiotic, psychiatrist writes a probiotic. It's like that. People started understanding the importance of gut. Benefits derived by us humans from gut microbiota, like regulations of body metabolism, processing the food, absorption of the healthy nutrients, detoxification of the dangerous substances, training and regulation of the immune systems, prevention and invention of the growth of dangerous pathogens. Lot of benefits. Without earlier the world used to think gut is like a mission. They call it as mission model of gut. We eat the solid foods, we chew, and what does gut do? It just break down into smaller particles. Nutrition gets absorbed, and then the excretion happens. It's called as mission model of the gut. But that is not the whole story. The whole story is a lot of things happens inside the gut with the help of microbiome and enzymes and a lot of things. And people even say this aerobic bacteria, you will only get it when you go out and play. If you don't go out and spend some time in the open air, in the sunlight, we don't get this rich aerobic bacteria, which plays a huge role in maintaining the symbiosis of the gut. A lot of things which we need to be aware of. So what happens is the disturbance of this gut microbiota leads to conditions like IBS in general, IBD, and then for children we call it as autistic enterocolitis, asthma, allergies, dietary gut sensitivities, antibiotic associated diarrhea, ASD, Parkinson's, and other wide range of psychiatric conditions. So gut can lead to all of these. So what we did is, like, some 6 years before, we did this test for a lot of children to study the inflammatory markers in the gut called as fecal calprotectin. So actually what happens is the emerging evidence suggests a strong link between gastrointestinal system inflammation and behavioral symptoms. The fecal calprotectin, a neutrophil-derived protein, serves as non-invasive biomarker. Why I call it as non-invasive biomarker? Because you don't have to do any blood test. It's just a stool sample. Because we all know drawing a blood sample from children, especially our children, is not an easy thing. So I always try to be as much as non-invasive as possible. So this is what we have came out with, and then a lot of results came out of the study. So very interesting picture. See, this ASD severity. How do we say the ASD is very severe? Repetitive behaviors, repetitive patterns, and aggression, throwing things like behavior, and then self-injurious behaviors, hurting others. These are called as severe ASD symptoms. But the key thing is aggression, throwing things, anger are not part of core features of ASD. The core features of ASD is communicational challenges, social challenges, and some behaviors. Not aggression. Aggression and anger are certainly not part of core ASD behaviors. But why most of the children during their teenagers throw up these tantrums and this much of behaviors? Because of disturbed gut. So that is what the science says. There's a gastroesophageal reflux disease, abdominal pain because of that. Underlying pain is the main reason for people even say, even for seizures, underlying gut pain is the reason. So once we start fixing this gut microbiota, and once we establish the symbiotic gut, a lot of things can be fixed in terms of behaviors. It is our study again, so it's, you can see in this study, A is a healthy colon and B is colon of people with autism. This in the ascending colon, you can see a lot of green. That's a common salt, the good bacteria. And the same way, vice versa, in autism colon, you can see a lot of red. The dysbiosis, the unhealthy combination of gut microbiome exists. It leads to a lot of mood, the extreme moods, and then mood swings. This is the main reason. Again, this is an interesting study. What we did is compare with, see, if there are two children in a family, one child is neurodiverse, ASD, other child is neurotypical. If we do the microbiome profile, gut microbiome profiling for both of the individuals, you can see here, the blue is the neurotypical non-ASD sibling. The red is ASD sibling. So it's so distinct. That is why we always have to keep in mind genetic inheritance plays the genetic plays a big role here. Even though they are siblings, they don't share the same gut picture. It's really, really varied. So this is what I would like to say, this vicious cycle to virtuous cycle. So what we eat, it works a lot in the gut, and that leads to the blood through leaky gut and things like that, and then crosses the blood-brain barrier in brain problems, and then which leads to behavior. It becomes a very vicious cycle. So once we change the food habits, change our lifestyle, we can reverse and then make it as a very healthy cycle. I'm a Siddha physician, and I am called here to talk about the Siddha medicines, what we do with the Siddha medicines. So this is what I would like to highlight in this presentation. So this is our recent study, and there are so many medications which can tone, support, and reduce the pain for children with autism. Out of this, I like to highlight two of the medicines. The first one is Adimadura Churnam. The second one is Manikya Gridam. These are the Gridam means ghee in Sanskrit. So there's a ghee-based medicine, and this Adimadura Churnam is it's like a powder form medicines. Both of these medicines are anti-inflammatory, gastroprotective, and adaptogenic. So it ensures there is no nutritional leakage into the system, and then nutrients are being absorbed and available for the body building. So we'll discuss them in detail. The objective of the study is, first what we did is we studied the fecal calprotectin levels in the children, and then we assessed with the parents' help in terms of the prevalence and the GI severity symptoms. And then we developed one pre-assessment protocol where the fecal calprotectin levels are being monitored and then compared with their behavioral profile. See, for example, if the fecal protectin FC is more than 40 or more than 50 or more than 100 in 3 digits for that matter, and the high irritability, severe sleep disturbances, aggression, and restlessness, impulsive behavior. So we just documented that. And after the medicines for 3 months, and then we documented again on how these behaviors have reduced or increased. For almost everyone, there is a marked, significant downward movements of the aggressive behaviors. Evaluate the therapeutic impact of Manikya Gridam and Adimadana Churnam on FC levels and GI symptoms. So this is what the purpose of the study. The methodology is this. It's a cross-sectional observational study with a nested intervention arm. 60 students we have chosen, actually, 3 to 18 age group. This was assessment DSM-5 criteria and ISAA for some children. And we ensured we excluded for any recent antibiotic use within 3 months, because we know that is going to have an impact, the medical observation too. And then any surgery, we just exclusion. The medicines are these two things, like Adimadura Churnam. The prime ingredient is Adimadura here. Adimadura is a fantastic Siddha medicine which has very good gut healing effect actually. It soothes the gastric lining. It has an excellent ability to reduce the acidity actually. And it does have enough anti-activity for H. pylori. It inhibits it, supports the gut microflora, alleviates bloating, hyperacidity, and it's very safe use, well tolerated with everyone. In terms of Manikya Gridam, it's the main ingredient is called as Podudalai in Tamil, the Lipia nodiflora. Lipia nodiflora is a very, very simple herb, and it is not a very harsh herb. Most of the Siddha medicines can be slightly harsh if it used in a single herb administration, but this is a very, very safe herb for single herb administration. So this particular herb is being treated with coconut milk, which becomes coconut oil. So it's very, very soothing by nature. So in terms of gut, it also supports very good nervous system regulation by strengthening the myelin, and it complements the probiotic rich Siddha diets. And it is also a kaya kalpa. It reverses aging, because it's having anxiolytic effects also. It acts as a gentle support in terms of gut health. There are so many other medications like Koroshonai Matrai, Urai Matrai, Vallare Gridam, Sundai Vatal Churnam, Pandayanai, Bhavana Panchakula Thailam, Karisalai, Brahmi. So many gut functioning medicines. But the key thing is we have to ensure it is not like one solution for everybody. In Siddha, is a medical system which works on individualistic way. For us, it's everything is vada, pitta, and kapha. So based on that, we have to change the medications, change the dose, the posology, and things like that. Also, we have to be aware autism is a fingerprint disorder. No two kids are alike. Everybody is unique. So taking detailed history, interacting with parents, investigations, observation, and then trying with one medicine in a very low dose, and then you can increase the dose. These are the basic observations we have to practice. So that is just a seminar which we are talking about the possibilities of treatment through Siddha system of medicine. But I'm not going to give any prescription here because I'm not here for that. So, but I would like to say Siddha has a lot of avenues to treat the gut aspect of the children with autism. So this is a very interesting study we did with the same university, Madras University, IBMS. Efficacy of Panchamutti Kanji as a nutritional supplement. We most of the children with autism do have this hypotonia because of lack of protein absorption. This very simple Siddha Kanji porridge. So once we give it for like 45 days, like 150 ml every day, we could see they become very socially fluent actually because of rich nutrition available to them. Very simple medication. This we can try to along with the other medications which we have just detailedly discussed. I'm also duty bound to tell you we don't use medication only in isolation. In most of the time, we follow this protocol very well. The Siddha protocol, what we follow is for us, yoga is the first thing, and then comes the internal medications. External therapies like Abhyangam, Navarakedi, Shirodhara, Timiral, and Patru, a lot of liver compress, abdomen compress. There's so many acupuncture sometimes, Varma most of the times, and customized healing diet. Because we take a lot of time and efforts in crafting out a customized healing diet for each and every child. And along with that, lot of sports and arts activities also we practice. So this is the protocol. Once we follow this complete holistic protocol, we can see the children are going very, very far away actually. Yeah. The keynote is every person is unique in the spectrum, and customization is the key. So I would like to conclude my talk with this because it's a parent forum. I would like to interact a lot, and I would like it to be very, very as much as interactive as possible. I'm open for any questions, comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing your valuable insights on gut health and autism. The presentation was really informative and also inspiring. Now we can clearly understand how gut health related with many of our medical conditions. We truly appreciate your time and effort and dedications joining with us today. Thank you so much. Now we open the floor for question hour. Please raise your hands in your screen, so we'll just call it out sequentially. Thank you. Okay, I'll go with Rama. Can you unmute Rama?
They can unmute themselves.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Rama. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the wonderful session, Doctor. This is really, really useful, helpful, and of course, right, a lot of people are worried about this constipation, gut, and of course, this is the right time that you came and then you explained us to us very clearly, sir. Sir, we have one basic doubt. When we are actually promoting the gut health, so do we need to see the first primary focus on the constipation, right? Because that has a direct relationship. Because I see my daughter is actually having the autism, but from the beginning, from the childhood, we face with constipation problem for her actually. Another problem we see, the probiotic that you are explaining to us, she is actually not taking curd because she has that condition, right? So she cannot accept curd in any form because she hates white, for that matter. So she will not take it. but still we are actually surviving with the constipation because we at times we give Kaim tablets or we will give triple churanam or we will not go for laxatives definitely, but we will try to see. So is it advisable to give or put her into the triple churanam for some time course to get the constipation corrected because we are afraid of things. That's why we are not making it as a habit also for her now.
So, thanks for your question. Actually, Trifla is a very safe drug, but I really doubt it has great effect in treating constipation. Actually, for constipation, I would suggest some oil-based or neigh-based medicines, so that there will be mild laxative kind of thing, but it won't be like as purging as what we usually assume. This Manika Gridam, which I spoke, which I explained a bit before, so that could be something a very good option to try with your daughter. Actually, that's very very safe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. So
Thank you.
Kayakal, this what is that? This Trifala has a lot of very good effects in overall well-being. But for constipation, I would recommend Manika Gridam.
Monica
Yes.
Kadam. Oh, okay. Thank you, Doctor. That actually we haven't heard this Monica Kadam before. Actually, we heard it part of the session now. So we will try where we can get it in US, right? So we can try with her. But second question of that, sorry, taking the second question. Second question is, see, these kids are actually avoiding the curd, right? How we can promote that? Otherwise, if there is any other form where we can, Monica Kadam is actually, you said that I was picking up the point. It is rich in probiotics. Is there any other form that we can give them the natural food, the probiotics can be improved?
If for so we eat idli dosa, and then we have some probiotics, and then people use this kimchi kind of South Korean probiotics. It is also very commonly being used everywhere. Even in Chennai, we're able to get them. And then this fermented soy, the tofu, so that is a very good source of probiotics. So you can consider these things. And then other curd, if milk curd is allergic to, you can try other curd like coconut milk curd or almond milk curd, which is being available everywhere these days. These are the few options you can consider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Sure.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rama. Next, calling Priya. Priya, please unmute.
Hello. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you are.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. It was a very good session. Sir, there are many aspects, right? We talk about, when it comes to Siddha, we talk about Pitsam, Vadam, Kabam and all. So, what foods are considered to be balanced? Say, Pitta, Vada, Kabam balanced, so that it is advisable for the kids.
So we did speak a lot about in this presentation about the diversity of the gut microbiome. In Siddha, how we explain this term is in terms of arusuvai. So we need to employ all the 6 tastes in our food somehow. If not every day, at least once a week. So what happens these days usually is we avoid 2 tastes. Tuvarpu we don't use much, and then the kaipu, the bitterness also we don't use much these days. So, but the key thing is only if you employ these 2 tastes in at least in a very limited quantity, we get to strengthen our gut microbiome. And there's a urkai, there's a pickle, we make pickle very differently these days by boiling things and all. But urkai means it has to be animated, soaked for a very long time in sun, so that we also develop a very high order probiotics. So once we employ this arusuvai in our food consciously, we don't have to worry about our gut microbiome at all. And then the other practice Siddha speaks a lot about is purgative therapy. Once in 6 months, purgation is advised very sincerely. So with some medication help like castor oil or any other Siddha, there is a medicine which gives you purgative properties. So these 2 activities like, purgation once in 6 months and then arusuvai, if we employ these 2 techniques, we don't have to worry about the vada pitta. It will be completely balanced. So, yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, in following to the same question, right? So when I actually include tuvarku taste and kasapu taste, I usually include in our because we are vegetarians, so not much of options. We don't take egg also. So like definitely arusuvai is being part of our diet. But when I observe whenever I give kasapu, I see him being more hyper than the usual days. What could the reason be?
See, that is the thing, the kasapu, the taste has to be very, very little, the small dose it has to be administered. What happens is it can really disturb a large amount of good bacteria. So when you give this kasapu taste, it has to be animated with other. For example, if you are giving this bitter gourd, it has to be soaked in the tamarind juice for a while. Remove the bitter taste like more than 60, 70%. Like that, we have to use. The same thing applies to the pulipu taste also. If you are using tamarind, you better to slightly burn it in the fire and before using it. So that helps immensely. Once you dilute the bitter taste and then burn the this tamarind and things like that, and start using more rock salt, things like that, this hyper won't come certainly. It need not be strong. It needs to be really, really mild, as mild as possible. Because the strong bitter taste can lead to hyperacidity. It has to be as gentle as possible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priya. The next one is Kamala. Kamala, please unmute yourself and you can go with your question.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, to put this event successfully. The doctor, thank you so much. I'm going to say something controversial. You see, in temples, we only say Panjapurana. We have Pannira Tirumuregal, but they are not. We don't sing them. We don't recite them. We only do Panjapuranam. Pannira Tirumuregal, if we recite, like for an example, Thirumandaram, we would have learned so much in the temple itself. Like I read it in Thirumandaram, I don't remember which one exactly. The constipation, about constipation, Thirumalar has mentioned, that would make the fetus blind and all kinds of, these conditions we would have avoided. So, like we all go to the temple, we all, like for ages we have been doing it, but the temples failed us. So in Thirumandaram, he has mentioned clearly, and I didn't read everything, but when I read it, I said, oh my God, what a loss we have been missing. So I just wanted to share, we don't only recite Panjapuranam, we have to learn all 12 Tirumuraigal. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, ma'am. It's not in any way it's controversial, because Thirumandaram did speak a lot about Karu Urpati and what are the steps to to become parents, and healthy steps. And they do talk about parenting, they talk about yoga, they talk about lot of good things. So I mean, there is nothing controversial. I mean, I share your values. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Trimandram also talk about a lot of breathing exercise too. Thank you so much. So the next one is Niti. Niti, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. I think it was a very insightful chat. Just 2 points I have, and you mentioned that kids on the autism spectrum, they have social difficulties, right? And so what I'm seeing in my child is, and he's quite a bright kid. He's very happy when he meets adults. So is there also something that, just like peer conversation is a little low, because when he meets my friends or when he meets the parents of his peers, he's very happy. Like he'll say, Vivek uncle, how are you? But he'll not speak with the child, like Vivek uncle's daughter, who is basically in his class. He'll not be like, I'll have to poke him, speak with her. So is it also something that there's a difference between that social difficulty, general social difficulty, and social difficulty only with peers. Because what I've seen with my child is it is social difficulty with peers. Like kids in his class, he would not even ask them for a pencil. Like he's totally fine sitting with them, and being with them, smiling, etc., but not conversing. So I just want to know, is there something that can be done to resolve this? So this is question number one. Second is, you spoke about constipation. What I see in my child is that he's pooping every day. We've never had an issue of constipation, but what I see is that there are like these lumps, and he says that it is hard, it is tight. So that is also a part of gut imbalance, right? That's my second question.
So I'll just try to respond to your first question, ma'am. Actually, the first thing is most of the people on the autism spectrum, as you have rightly observed, they have difficulty in peer group interaction, and most of them are very, very comfortable with mingling with adults because they feel really safe in being around adults. So that is why constantly they require this adult supervision because they feel safe when that's happening. So that is the right observation. And the second thing is the tight stools. See, the stools need to be really, really formed. So that is the first thing we need to observe. And then there should not be any reducing substances. Like for example, if people eat carrot, sometimes the carrot just comes out. It shouldn't be like that because the nutrition is completely leaked waste. So yeah. But the third thing is this: if it is too tight, again we have to treat it as on par with constipation. It could be because of two reasons. One is not enough water consumption, dehydration. So that could be the reason. The other thing is not playing enough. People need to really move their body, play enough. Then there won't be this hard stool. There'll be a soft, well-formed stool. So these factors you can just try and then see. Let's see how it goes.
Get it, get it. Also, sir, Brahmi as a thing, like I have been, giving it in his milk. And what I do is, because I read a lot that dairy should be, totally taken out, etc. So what I do is, it's like this little a cup of milk with exactly this little water, and I put little Brahmi, little ghee in it, and I give it to him. So I mean, I have been doing it for I think about 7 months now, but I don't see a lot of like change. There's hyperactive. The basic issue is that, oh, I don't want to go to school, and like it's a mood thing. Like sometimes he's super excited to go to school, sometimes it's like, I don't want, and there's no reason behind it. There is no reason behind it. But so is there anything that you would, out of all the medicines, any one that you would name for this
I
kind of.
Yeah, I would really, I doubt myself whether I can tell you the right medications at this juncture with this much of little information which you have shared with me. But regarding the Brahmi, I can certainly comment. No, that is not the right way to do it. There are better ways to do it. The best way to do administer Brahmi is Gurdam form, the ghee form. Yeah. There
Leaf.
is something called as Brahmi ghee or Brahmi Gurdam. So
Yes,
that is
yes,
the
sir.
best
Yes, sir.
form. That is the best form
Okay.
because most of the herbs which we have discussed, they are gut toners as well as nervous system supporters.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So like Manikya Gridam, Brahmi Gridam is the best form for gut toning, also for calmness of the mind, reducing the anxiety.
Okay, sir.
So let us not mix it with milk at all.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the other
Oh.
thing is, yeah, the dose is very important. If you just put 1 or 2 pinches, I mean, we can't expect the desired results. So it needs to be at least 5 to 7.5 ml, and then it needs to be weight appropriate, body weight appropriate. So that has to be ensured.
Oh my God. Okay, sure. So that's what, little knowledge is so dangerous. I was operating on that, because milk he's drinking every day. I can put little. It's a powder that I have,
Yeah.
which I use, and I mix it with little ghee. But sure, I've heard
Right.
about Brahmi ghee as well.
Yeah, and then for your other part of the question, it is fine, if he choose to go to school one day and one day, like we all can have one bad day in our lives once in a month or once in few months. So it can be respected for that if it is once or twice. But if it is often, then we need to probe if there any reason in school, or is he being bullied or something, that we have to find out. Or if he just wants to avoid doing things, because functional disability is very common in autism. They know a lot of things, but they don't like to do many things. They tend to avoid things, right? It's we call as like a pathological demand avoidance, we call it as. So if that is the case, then we would like to gently push them with all the respect, and then continue with their routines. So it depends upon the case to case.
Case to case. Get it, sir. Get it. Cool, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
sir.
very much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi. Next one is Kabilan.
தான் மற்றவங்க கேட்கட்டுங்க, நான் கடைசியில் கேட்குறேன்.
வேற யாரும் இப்போதைக்கு இல்லைன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் கபிலன், நீங்க தான் இருக்கீங்க.
அப்படிங்களா? ஓகே ஓகே. தேங்க்ஸ் டாக்டர். இட்ஸ் a great brief, and also within 45 minutes you bring all the topics and related to gut microbiome, and also touch on the how pathological and also biochemical. My question is, if I'm wrong, correct me. And also disclaimer, I don't know about Indian medicines, how they are preparing Siddha or Ayurveda and other things. You also talked about the heavy metal. So, like if it is too much, that also toxicity for kids, even for adult also. So when you guys are preparing the Indian medicine, even Siddha, you guys add mercury, lead, and other ingredients for preservatives or adjunct. How does that, who is managing all this? How much concentration you use, and who is the monitoring board? And, can you explain to this, as one of the theory that, even mercury in the vaccine also cause autism. That is another story is going on. So if you take Indian medicine like Siddha, how safe this one? Thank you.
Yes. So yes, I mean, in Siddha, we have 3 branches of pharmacology. The one is the herbal kingdom, where we only use herbs. The second kingdom is metallic and mineral kingdom. The mineral kingdoms are completely safe, and metallic kingdom we have to handle with care. The third kingdom is animal substances like milk, ghee, honey, the products which we derive from animals. So when we talk about children under 12 years, there is no question of using metallic or mineral kingdom medicines. It's only herbal kingdoms. So we only use herbs for them, and it has to be in the right dose. That is the key. And then when we use for people around after 12 years or when they're adults, so we may have to use minerals or metallic drugs for a while. And for that, the marundalavu, nalalavu, kalalavu, this posology is very, very strictly followed. And since your part of the question is who monitors this, there is something called as GMP, Good Manufacturing Practice standard. So all the pharmacies have to stick to those standards, and then all these heavy metals have to be within this limits, permitted limits. And then the key thing is what we do is, as I even explained in my research work, we monitor all these liver functioning tests, everything before we give medications. And it is not for lifelong or months together or years together. It has to be for some time. And then post that, we have to monitor to see other things are okay. This follow-up is very, very important. So it depends upon the age, it depends upon the virulence of the conditions we intend to treat, and then it depends upon the choice of our drugs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kabilan. Next, we want to go with Sendil Velan.
வணக்கம் டாக்டர். ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருந்துச்சு நீங்கள் பேசுனது. எனக்கு ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்காக ஒன்று சொன்னீங்க. அது எல்லாமே இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்காக இருந்துச்சு. இந்த ஒரு பாயிண்ட் வந்து நீங்கள் பீயிங் அவுட் இன் சன்லைட் and the bacteria and the air can be helpful. இப்போ வந்து whether it's India and America, people, parents stay at home, study, don't go play. People are all stuck inside the house. அது இன்னொன்று வந்து அப்புறம் எர்த்திங்னு கேள்விப்படும். அதாவது காலில் வந்து செருப்பு போடாமல் வந்து விதவுட் எனி ஃபுட்வேர் go stand in the plain grass or ground. இந்த ரெண்டுத்தையும் பற்றி கொஞ்சம் சொல்ல முடியுமா உங்களால், both of these points?
Okay. The thing is, like, a man by nature, I mean, is getting too domesticated these days, right? We have everything, usually men are various, right? They'll be out in the fields, out in the forest, out in the mountains, out in the shores. இப்போ அது குறைஞ்சிட்டே வருது, that's coming, we are reducing it by day, and in developed countries it's even more reduced actually. So what the science says is, once you have this open air and sunlight, so all your body system gets invigorated. So I'm also an anthroposophic physician. When this Rudolf Steiner, he talks a lot about being in out. He says at least 30 minutes we should get sunlight. So that is the best support in managing your mood and also your health. So what happens is, most of the kids in the spectrum, or a neurodiverse children for that matter, they are spending more times with gadgets in home these days. Their school is also completely air conditioned, and at least in India, which I have seen, and because of safety issues also there, they can elope a lot. They can just run away. Safety wise also, we have to keep them inside the four walls or in the locked premise. So that directly impacts their time which they have to be outside. So what we always recommend is, everything is fine, they need to be safe. That is the first priority. But with safety, we have to expose them. We have to ensure that we expose them to the gentle sunlight and open air, clean air, at least in the rooftop or on the beach, or in the park or on the ground. So that makes some impact. So if you can just observe, so we were working with those days, like 5-6 years before, working with smaller children who had all these reducing substances in their stool. They consume beetroot will just come in the stool. But after 10 days of playing in the park, in the open park, that's not there.
Oh.
So it is so powerful. We often underestimate the power of being outside. Actually, it's very, very powerful. So that is one thing. And then the other, what is the other question, sir? Like
earthing
the ground
one
earthing,
without
earthing.
footwear, walking on the plain grass or the sand.
Yeah. So Siddha speaks a little about this in our Nalavaril. So what they speak is the earth itself, it's one of the Panchamahabhutas, right? Bhumi. So the earth, it has its own energy, which it keeps giving to the lives who lives on top of it. So what happens is, like, if we keep on avoiding and having an intermediate medium in between our feet and then the earth, we tend to lose it actually. But at the same time, we have to be very, very aware about in which earth we are exposing ourselves. If it is like a grass, as you said, or if it is the shore, or if it is the water and the river beds, for some time it is very good. But if you're exposing like a mosaic tile, and then it will increase our vada. So what tile we have in our home floor is also very important. This is terracotta tiles is the best. The Mantare Mari terracotta tiles is the best thing, and then the second best is granite. Yeah, and no mosaic and no cement floors. So we have to be conscious about that also a bit.
Roman doctor, very useful information. Number thanks.
Thank you so much, Sendil. Anyone has question?
John, do you have time? Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, Doctor. One more question I would ask, as I am working as a, like in dental school, I'm a oral biology, more focus on oral and also gut microbiome. So recent studies shows that, some of the oral microbiome, some bacteria that is in the oral, it's a commensal. It does not produce any disease. But once it gets into the bloodstream, it causes one of the bacteria, it causes infective endocarditis. The other bacterium, it is a fusobacterium that will cause, fetal death and other things once it gets into amniotic fluid and other things. So similarly, is there any research on going on oral microbiome with associated with, autism or any relevance this?
So far, they say three things. One is the antibiotic administration is frequent. So that has a very strong impact in terms of the existence of this relationship of bad and good bacteria. The second thing, especially the autistic population, they say is stress. The stress, in the sense, we all have some sort of stress, and it is required also in the life. Otherwise, we don't look forward. But here, the key thing is, if they like it so much. But most of them, if they dislike it so much actually. So forcing them can lead to stress which we can't even imagine. It might be a very small thing for us. For them, it might be a very, very big thing. For example, for a teacher's voice, it could be very bad to them, or the teacher could be a little harsh to them. They might not be have been harsh to him or her, but they think something, and then the little extra push from the parents, it can also cause a dramatic disturbance in the gut microbiome. So that is why we say that introduction has to be very good. The behavioral mode of interventions like ABA or verbal behavior, they talk a lot about great beginnings. Whatever you introduce, take it in a very gentle way and in a very most likable way, according to the neurobiology of the child. Slightly extra push can lead to a stress which can disturb their gut. It may result in diarrhea, it may result in constipation, it may result in vomiting and things like that. So if we are little mindful about infections and antibiotic usage, frequent usage, and the stress, these are the recent study says these three things are the most contributing factors in altering the right balance of the gut microbiome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Doctor. We discussed a lot of things, and you have been very patiently explaining each and every questions. We really, really appreciate. Thank you so much. Do you want to say anything before we conclude this? Before we go for the word of thanks?
I would sincerely like to thank everyone for this active participation, because rather than my presentation, the questions only brought a lot of information for every one of us. So thank you very much for this opportunity and this interactiveness. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Doctor. Now I would like to invite Senthil Velan to deliver the word of thanks.
Vanakkam. Romba thanks, Doctor. We are so much indebted to you for your time and the effort and the care you put together, in putting together this presentation, and the care with which you listened to our questions and answered them. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Vanakkam. On behalf of the Special Needs Committee of FEDNA, I'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for joining us today to listen to the esteemed doctor's talk on gut health and autism. We're grateful for your participation and engagement. A special thanks to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Parthiban, for sharing his expertise, insights on this critical topic. Your knowledge and passion have enlightened us, and we are grateful for your time and effort. The knowledge and advice you shared is of immense help for those who attended today, and also for future viewers of this speech on YouTube and Facebook. This is being live streamed, so they will exist forever. In future, people can always go and listen to your wonderful advice. Thank you very much. We also appreciate the efforts of our organizing team, tech team volunteers, and others who work behind the scenes to make this event possible. I also want to thank the FEDNA board for giving us this platform. I want to express the gratitude of the Special Needs Committee to FEDNA Secretary Kabilan Velaya for joining this event. All of your dedication is invaluable. To our participants, thank you for being part of this important conversation. Their presence and engagements are what make events such as this possible. We hope you found today's discussion very informative and helpful. I want to personally and on behalf of Special Needs Committee thank John for agreeing to host this event at the last minute. Thank you, John, once again. I want to thank Sendamari Prabhakar for helping with the participation of the eminent Dr. Parthiban. As we conclude, we are reminded of our shared commitment to supporting individuals with special needs. Let's continue to work together to create a more inclusive society. And from Special Needs Committee and FEDNA, we hope to organize more such events, which will be valuable for the community. Thank you, Doctor. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Senthil. அனைவருக்கும் மிக்க நன்றி. இந்நிகழ்வில் கலந்து கொண்ட உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் மிக்க நன்றி. With that, we are concluding this event. Please stay tuned for another event. Thank you so much. அனைவருக்கும் நன்றி.